Hey everyone, thanks so much for following along. We've been talking a lot here about the topic of image management and how that negatively impacts you. Yeah, this is where we really get to the good stuff of how do I move through this and what does health look like in terms of putting less value into what other people think of you. So, in this video today, I'm going to be sharing about a practical skill of stopping everything that you are doing and noticing the emotional response if you are stuck in your head. So let's say you go to a work event outside of work with some colleagues and you are noticing that after the event that you're really stuck in your head about maybe what you said or if so and so liked you. So in that moment, I want to encourage you to stop everything you're doing and to tend to yourself. So there's a lot of rich benefit that comes from this. So we are teaching ourselves to slow down in that moment, which can incorporate mindfulness into our daily lives. And we're also teaching ourselves to attune in that moment to what might be happening below the surface. So back to this work party, you notice, okay, I am really overthinking what so-and-so thought of me, or maybe they didn't like me, or maybe I said something wrong. What I want you to notice in that moment is any physical sensation that is happening in your body. So does your chest feel tight? Do you feel a sense of dread or heaviness? Do you feel heat behind your eyes? Those physical sensations are trying to cue you into your emotional state. And so oftentimes, if we're talking about the topic of image management, there is a fear or a concern about what other people think of you. There also might be some shame there, or there might be anger, but when we can drop into our bodies and name the emotion, that helps us get our needs met in different ways. So say you do this skill and you engage with this skill and you pause after this work event and you notice, oh wow, I'm feeling some fear that I said the wrong thing or that so-and-so didn't like me. Those are very common responses, I think. And so if you've had this response, I just want to normalize that. And there's nothing wrong with you for having those responses. So if you notice that fear, what I want you to do is name that fear and connect with it in your body. And you could also take a few deep breaths in that moment. And then I want you to validate, like, yeah, that is scary if you have a thought that someone doesn't like you. That is painful to think about, right? Because I think at the end of the day, we all want to be liked. We all want to belong. We all want to connect with other human beings. And those are really valid needs. So the root of image management is this deep desire for connection, for validation, for belonging, for acceptance, and at the end of the day, to experience love with other human beings. And then instead of staying in our heads and instead of what ifing all day long, we can come back to what is true in that moment. So just like I just shared with you, I think it might be beneficial to you to name, oh wow, I'm feeling afraid right now, or maybe I felt misunderstood and maybe I'm feeling some anger right now. And then once we identify the emotion, then we can get our needs met in healthy ways. So if I felt afraid during that social event, what was the underlying root of that? Was that because this is a new job for me and that's the first time that I've been somewhere like that and I can also celebrate that I went? Yeah, that can be one way I move through that. So I can validate, oh wow, I'm really proud of myself for going. Or if I notice some anger, is it because I felt misunderstood? And the next time I go to a social event, I want to make an effort to try to use my voice more or to express myself more. So those are two examples. So with fear or with anger, what the underlying need is that's there, and then getting curious about how we can get that need met instead of engaging in cognitive distortions or experiencing anxiety or engaging in maybe problematic thinking patterns that are not serving us. And so, yeah, once we tune into the emotion, we can validate the emotion, we can name it, and we can get our needs met in healthy ways. So perhaps we might talk about it in therapy, we might journal about it, we might practice moving from what if this and this person doesn't like me to what is true. So those are all practical skills for moving through that emotion in a healthy way. And I would argue that once we move from the content of our thoughts to our emotion, it helps us in and of itself reduce some of the fear and some of the value of caring too much about what other people think of you and of us. So I hope this content was helpful today. Looking forward to sharing more with you all. Take care.